Okay, so we're testing invoices with address, grand total, discount amount.
So it's showing a discount amount. No problem with that. Thank you for resolving that issue.
Yeah.
But the total is not showing up in shipping address. Well, custom field too, but custom field is my least concern, to be honest.
Right, right. Okay, so I did a test before the call, like with a simple ship address on a one of our standard templates out of our library that I think you've already played with it, and it pulled the address in out of my company file. But so I'm thinking it's something. Obviously, we need to try and address it, but like. Um, let's take a look at the invoice so I can just see the data that's in the invoice and how it's formatted, like in QuickBooks. Again, you've not done nothing wrong, but obviously something's inhibiting our ability to pull that in, you know. Um,
Okay. This is the
yeah,
invoice.
yeah. So you have the, no, so it's the date we want to see. I mean, the address at the top, right? Because the line items are pulling in, right?
So there are 24 items here. Just to be sure, let's see how many here. 24 items. Because obviously the total is wrong. It means somewhere calculation is not done right. So I'm
Right,
trying to understand maybe one of the items is not
right.
readable for some, sign or symbol being used in it or something like that. But 24 items here, I have 24 items exactly the same. Um,
Right. Well, you actually have
and
let me see. So the 25th line is just if you're going to add another line, right?
yeah, I mean, this is always blank. It's
Right.
QuickBooks
Yeah. Yeah.
default thing.
And are we? We're not off by like 220 or something at the bottom, like the first or last item or anything. But I don't know. 865, and it was what 962. What's the?
Which one? I'm sorry.
So the amount that showed up on our report was what was it? Nine.
This one?
The amount that showed up for the grand total when we
Oh,
printed.
so 971 is the total that shows up on AccuWare,
Nine
but
nine seventy one, was it 971 even or was it 971?
971 with some. No, there was some there. Just a second. Let's see.
Yeah, yeah. Let's subtract those two.
It's the same with a bigger invoice. I have another invoice. It's 971.
971.50, right?
Yeah.
And it should be formatting that for currency too. I see that, but anyway, okay. And then so then when you could you show me the real invoice now is 965.38, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So 612. All right.
612. I
And
don't
I
know.
don't see an item on there for that, but it could be the combination of
Nothing
something.
there.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So I'm just, if you don't mind, I'm recording some of this to show my guys how it's not working. You know, is that okay?
I don't mind.
Yeah,
Absolutely
yeah.
fine.
Okay. All right. So go if you could go back into the label design that you made, and we'll just show them, and then I'll give
Do
them
you
that.
think this, I'm sorry for interrupting, but do you think this item could be a problem because I've added zero because we give this free? We made it zero with overwritten this price. This product actually has a price,
I see.
but we have
Yeah,
overwritten this.
yeah. It's possible. It's possible that they need to, you know. But they should be pulling it. They should be pulling it from the QuickBooks API. So they're just leaving it to the QuickBooks API to do the right thing. But if the QuickBooks API isn't handling it well, then you know, see, our guys are just going to make an API call to the total, and Intuit supports that. We just pull it in. You know, um, I don't think we're manually adding that up, but you could see if it affects it.
Doesn't have a price actually. It says zero for some reason. I'm not sure why. Um,
Yeah.
what I'm going to do is go to that invoice again, and let's say that I put like $2 or something on that. Let's see what happens. Let's say this is $2. I'm gonna remove the discount. Save and close.
So the item didn't really pull in a price into the invoice on the first column, though. I don't think.
This was $965. I brought it up to $975, like $10 addition.
Yeah, just open up the invoice. Let me just look at it.
All
Yeah,
right.
let me just look at it, because I want to make sure that that one column wasn't zero still. The first column.
So
Yeah.
this is description. It doesn't have any calculation.
Well, it's got a zero. Oh, okay. It's okay. It's just the description has. Oh, okay. So you're putting dollars.
Yeah, we provide additional each price information for our customers. It's easy for them if something comes in a box, like a few items, we give
I
them
see.
like each price, helps them to calculate how much is the cost per item.
Okay.
It's not coming from like any calculation. It's like a text, rich text.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. So you're. I didn't know you were putting the dollars into the description. Okay. All right. Yeah.
So because it's not
Right.
it's something we cannot format with a number like currency. These are formatable because these are currency.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's what we have to put dollar signs.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
All right. I will go and get data again to see what it shows up.
Well, the address isn't appearing on this output either here. A basic address of ship address line 1, 2, and 3 were added. Those are coming in blank here, so I'll show you the template in a minute. We're looking at the grand total right now.
So
971.
it didn't change. As you can see, I changed my total, but it remains the same. For
Yeah.
some reason.
Right, right.
I can go to another invoice, but I'm going to just go 17, the longer, bigger invoice, bigger amount. See how does that one
Yeah.
play.
So this is the discounted grand total. Oh no, you have the discount on there, right? And then the just the grand total.
Yes, but it doesn't show accurate.
Right, right. I could see that.
Normally
Yeah.
your formula was, I believe you have made it to show amount on my grand total. You show amount after discount, correct?
I'd have to look at what the API is pulling. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I wasn't able to test it for obvious reasons, but yeah, that's why I remember he said that how it's supposed to work because then if you remember I asked for subtotal, I said is there a kind of subtotal field we can add to show
right.
amount before the discount. I can find my way with that. I can do a formula, custom formula, but and you said you might need to charge me for that, and said okay, I can play it. It's just working without it and stuff. But I'm trying to remind you that I think you said it's showing after discount amount. So it's 11,497. If I go to that invoice, which is right here, see, this is the amount.
So it's off by like $100 or whatever, or more. Yeah.
This time it's showing more. It was showing more in that one too.
Right, right. It's $10 or $7 or $8 more. Yeah. Yes. So
$160.
yeah.
$6 or $7.
So I'm going to ask my guys whether they're trying to calculate this grand total or if they're just using the API to do it. Because if they're leaving it to the API, there might be some value in the QuickBooks data somewhere that's coming out to this other value that I don't know. You know you're if there's some sort of setting or something that's causing a difference between what appears on your invoice and some reason what QuickBooks has on their API value. I'll find out if my guys are trying to calculate that or if they're just leaving it to QuickBooks to give us the proper value. You see what I'm saying? But can you open up the template?
Yep.
Yeah. I just want them to see what we're trying to print here because
All right. Do you want to use this? Test
right.
that?
So we were just pulling in customer ship address line 1, 2, and 3, and none of this appears. Could you go into the QuickBooks invoice for me one more time?
City and state doesn't work too. I mean, they used to work too. Like it's, when I talk about address, it's not only ship address 1, 2, 3, but also city and state field.
Right.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we don't kind of miss that.
So I'm not sure. I think that we were told that city, state, and zip was going to be phased out from them. So we might have to do that separately as city and state, and then postal code. But let's not before you add. Again, I don't want to add too many variables to it yet. Can I just try something on your invoice? Okay. So every time you add something, if it malfunctions, we don't know what caused it. In fact, we know less, right? Because we have more variables that could have. See, what can happen is if one thing fails, like the state, it'll cause all of it to malfunction. Right. All right, no, that's fine. I think you know what you're doing, but I'm just letting you know as a side issue that I'm going to check with my guys, but I think that they're phasing out support for this city, state, zip concatenated thing in their API. So I don't think that's the cause because I left that in on mine just to test for that, and it worked on mine. So can we just go into your invoice and just take that country part out, because way back when in our earlier years there was a bug on our fault that had to do with the country being in there. So if you could go into the address for that invoice in QuickBooks, yeah, either one of the invoices, and just take that United States out of there. And we'll support that, but just take that out of there. Yep. And make sure there's no extra lines in there that maybe are just dead lines. Yep. Yeah, okay. So save and close. Now let's try it and see if the address pulls in better. Again, this wouldn't be your fault. This would be our fault. But way back when, we had an issue with country being an issue.
I'm not looking for anybody to blame. I want the tool to work.
Yeah. I know. So that's why I'm...
Really, to be honest, I don't care whose fault it is as long as it works.
Yeah. I know. But if I don't get to the bottom of it, like, we're going to end up saying, well, it's just your data.
Sure.
And that's not fair to you to just say it's your fault. Yeah, no, right. Well, we should support the country, so, and I thought they fixed that, but just in case that error is looming its head again, I want to test for that,
Yeah, if you ask me, from my previous experiences, only, like, QuickBooks have updated their, because on a regular basis, they update their APIs. I'm pretty confident, I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe that they've just updated their APIs. It's something that probably your guys need to look into and update the APIs accordingly.
Right. Yeah. So, so when I do the address on my side, it works fine. So I'm afraid my guys will test it and say it's working fine. So what we need to do...
Because of the version you're using. Because I remember the screen recording you shared with me.
Uh-huh.
You're using a different version of QuickBooks. What happens is when they roll out new versions, they don't launch it for everyone. They make it available to certain clients. I've been on the phone with QuickBooks for hours.
Yeah.
What happens is, for example, the QuickBooks, I use advanced, like maximum option, right?
Right.
That could be one different. There's another one is just the version is different that I'm using to yours, which ultimately gonna kind of end up with using different APIs.
Right. So let's just open up that invoice, let my guys take a look at the screen. Yeah.
So your API is not pulling up the information, to be honest. Showing the categories, showing customer information, but it doesn't give me
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't provide that information through APIs.
So let's can we get on the screen as part of my capture here that particular invoice? We had it up a moment ago in QuickBooks, just so they can see it on the display.
Okay, you want to go to QuickBooks?
Okay, so there's what the address looks like. When you define the customer, the address, are you filling it into the invoice only, or are you filling it
No, no, no.
into the
I'm
customer?
So when I go to customer, what QuickBooks is doing when they come to this invoice, they just put together all this information as one field. It looks like one field, but actually each customer has.
I know that. I know right. I know that. But you can update it into the invoice as well. So I just wanted to see the customer screen that you've edited. All right. Yeah. Okay. And then if you press edit, could you go ahead and press that? I want them to see this so that they get to see the way you've entered the data. Go to the ship address if you could.
The ship address is the same as billing. That's what we did. That's what I was trying to explain. That
Right, right. So scroll up so I can no, like, so does it have a ship address entry place in the data?
well, if I unclick this, it will appear. If I do this, that's what will happen. I can change it. But since I say it's the same, it's just keeping the same information. Doesn't show me the fields. You know,
Oh.
it doesn't capture more space in there. It's more of the UI solution.
Well, I know, but I'm wondering if
So you want to try that?
my guys might be just reading only from that ship address place, right?
Okay. I hope it's the solution.
No, no, I mean, but you're showing good things on the video that they should be considering, right? You know, they. I just don't know if when the invoice was created.
I hope that's work.
Oh, it got part of it.
It does work.
Okay. So so what it's probably doing in the API is when you click same, it's just sort of referring internally for them, but the API just it shouldn't, but it has a blank ship address maybe.
But what is weird is it was working. I'm 100% sure I tested it. So
Well,
ship address 2. What I'm going to
yeah.
do, I'm going to go to that client and add ship address 2.
Yeah.
Alright. Let's see what happens.
Now sometimes with the way they save it, you might have to update the invoice in QuickBooks and re-add that as the customer, but we'll try that if it. Yeah.
One, I think, for the now, I like, okay. Let's test, and if it doesn't work, I'll update it in the invoice. No, on my invoice, there is a shipping address. You remember where we removed that country name?
Yeah.
There is a shipping address on my invoice. I mean, it's not. It's just not.
Oh yeah, no, I know that because QuickBooks knows to make it the same as the bill address, but it may be in the background database that if you click that box, it may not be in a ship address table anymore. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how they're doing it. You know what I mean in the background, but.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure too. So it's working. One way split billing and shipping address. It is working, but I have like 2,000 clients.
Right. Right.
I can work with it. Like.
Well, I mean, I don't mind.
The day in a day, I can definitely work around and kind of split them one by one. No problem once they come in. But this is something you might need to address.
Right.
And then.
Right.
So this we'll find the solution for, at least the solution.
Right.
Better than nothing. But then total amount, I'm not sure what we're gonna do with that. If you have any ideas, ready to try.
Right. What I got to do is probably, first thing I'm gonna ask my guys is, are they just leaving it up to Intuit to give them the grand total? Because if we're not even calculating it, then it's Intuit that's calculating it wrong. You see what I'm saying? But if maybe there's a few different grand totals and maybe they're using the wrong one. I don't know. I'll find out. Um, but I'll find out if they're trying to calculate the total or if QuickBooks just is saying no. Here it is, invoice grand total. As an argument that you just select, and then you see what I'm saying. Like I don't know. It would be maybe there's several different ones and they just selected the wrong one. I'll find out. All right. So the ad.
Good.
And
If we can solve that problem as well, I'm ready to go
yeah.
with my operations, because really we got stuck today and was receiving requests from our operations team in multiple occasions.
Mm.
Just had to stop some of the shipments to
Yeah.
resolve this.
I mean, if lots of things were being manipulated between when it was working. Now, one thing I will caution you about is if you go into our designer, okay, I don't think you were doing it just now, but go into label connector real quick. Let me just, and then go into the designer. If you you see where it says switch to label designer, don't click it. But if you have a report design on the screen, and
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
and well, I'm right. If you switch to label design mode and then save it, we should be warning and not allowing it to do that. But I think in some cases, if you do that, it's going to cause some values on the template to not function right. So just and we're going to work on that too to try and make sure users don't wander into that. But that can happen. So.
I'm gonna try my own invoice to see what the ship address is working.
Yeah. Good idea.
But yeah, I've done that mistake actually. I've done that mistake and everything messed up, and then I realized by doing the mistake. See, address is showing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now it was working for me. So city and state is working too.
Right.
It's
Okay.
just that it's your solution, and you don't have build two separate data fields, so that I have to use the same ship to addresses and information
Yeah.
fields here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a potential upgrade for you guys if you want to have build two separately as a data field too.
Right.
You don't have it.
Right. I mean, see, if you and I know you don't need all the reasons, but when people make labels, initially this was for labeling only. They don't ever put the bill address for a customer on a label. They might put the ship address on a shipping label, but
Makes sense.
but if we're going to be doing invoices and packing slips and other things that are beyond that, then yes, certainly the bill address is something we need to. If we add that, that's going to be a whole bunch of new data sources all at once. That's going to make that list very lengthy, and most of our customers won't use those, but still. So I'm trying to figure out a way to make that collapsible so it just says bill address, then you expand it, and there's all those extra data sources. But anyway, so we'll. But anyway, okay.
I don't want to put too much on your plate right now. I know you have enough of the problems for now to address.
Yeah.
So ship address is solvable. I can do a solution on my end at
Yeah.
this moment. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Very helpful.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Test it out and find it out.
Okay. Yeah. Good. All right. I'll let you go. I'm glad we got some things figured out. I'll check into the total thing for you.
Yeah, with the total, I'm good to go. I'm gonna leave you alone.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, I'm glad we got something solved. So,
Thank you so
all
much.
right.
I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you.
All right. Bye bye.